Okay, how's everybody doing this evening? My name is Kent. The channel is EOS Bitcoin San Diego. And of course, I'm in San Diego, California. The date is August 20th and the time is 11:56 p.m. And I want to talk about a few things tonight. The first thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about Cardano. ADA, Charles Hoskinson, getting ready to release something here very soon. After 5 years in development, he finally looks like he's getting ready to release something. Let's make my browser a little bit bigger and let's go back and change my screen so you can see what I'm doing. If I can do it from there, looks like I'm gonna have to do it from someplace else. So anyway, after 5 years of this guy promising, and telling us that he's going to release a blockchain, looks like he's finally put himself in a little bit of a position to do that. If he does, has yet to be seen. And I'm kind of thinking maybe he doesn't. I don't even think they've got the right date down. They have two different dates as far as when they're going to launch this. Maybe it's Alonzo or something like that, something to that effect. So it's getting ready to happen. And I want to talk about it a little bit. So here we go. Let's go back to Cardano. And I want to bring up this video. Let me see if it'll play real quick. Let me see if it's playing. Is it playing? No, I have to set my preferences once again. Every time I open up this program, it changes my preferences. So this is the deal. People that started on Ethereum really built on Ethereum not because they ever planned on releasing any of their projects. They built on Ethereum because Ethereum was running so slow. 10 transactions per second, 20% transactions per second. It had no scalability. We did not build on Ethereum because we wanted to actually have something work. We were building something. So we didn't build on Ethereum, we built on EOS. And of course, we did build on an EOS, and we actually have a working application in the app and the Google Play Store, like I say all the time on this channel. The people that built on Ethereum don't have working applications. They don't have blockchains. They don't have anything because Ethereum doesn't have any kind of scalability. It doesn't run transactions fast enough to run any of these applications or dApps that have been promised. But the one thing Ethereum has is it has a lot of market volume. So if you wanted liquidity, if you wanted to be on exchanges, if you wanted to have ways to sell tokens and just purely have a token that spikes in value, get on Ethereum. If you wanted to actually build a project, you're going to have to go with EOS or Telos or some one of the chains that actually built the project. We, wanting to build something, wanting to be real developers, real blockchain entrepreneurs, chose EOS, and we have been penalized by that because our project hasn't gotten near the exposure because EOS hasn't done as well in the markets as Ethereum. But the Ethereum projects never got built. And one of the projects that never got built, is one of the guys that helped found Ethereum, which is Cardano. It's never been built. 5 years waiting for this thing. It'd be as if Elon Musk says, I'm going to build an electric car. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be fast. It's going to be online. It's going to have all the features of a digital car where you can drive itself. It can do all these things, but he never builds it. He raises tens and hundreds of millions of dollars to build out Tesla, but he never builds the car. He just talks about it for 5 or 6 or 7 years. And then one day he announces, oh, I'm going to start building my car. But in the meantime, for the 5 or 6, 7, 8, 10 years, he just makes a lot of money in the appreciation of his stock. There's no ongoing enterprise. There's no factories being built. There's no cars being built. He just talks about it, and nobody really questions it because the stock keeps going up. The value of the stock keeps appreciating. So as long as the people keep making money from their stock, they never really request or require or think about him building a car, but he never builds a car. So this game just goes on for years and years. And that's what's happened with Cardano. It's just gone on for years and years. Although Elon Musk did build a car. So he's different because he was under the authority or under the rules and regulations and the procedures of the Security Exchange Commission, because he's a publicly traded stock. So he had to produce a product and he had to throw his own money at it to produce it. And that's why people love Elon Musk. And that's why he's one of the richest guys in the world, because he's an innovator. He's built something. He's went out and done something. You know, he always talks about he doesn't like Warren Buffett. Not a big fan of Warren Buffett because Buffett doesn't build anything. Buffett basically takes companies and he scraps them. And, he cuts middle management. He cuts pensions. He cuts everything. He takes them down to bare bones. He tries to turn everything he can into cash, and cuts jobs. People lose jobs. People lose money. People lose, their livelihoods. They lose their pensions. They lose everything. And Buffett comes out, looking like, he's a great manager because he gets rid of everybody. And he cuts all the expenses and all the profits, or cuts all the expenses and he increases his profits. And that's why people like him as an investor, from an investment point of view. But as far as a person that's in the real world working for one of his companies, you got to hate the guy because he's got all your jobs. He's got all your, he's outsourced all your stuff. He's gotten rid of, most of the companies that he owns. He completely, scraps them. He just turns them into value. He's a value investor. So whatever assets he has on the balance sheets, he gets rid of it. He sells. Whatever people that he can cut jobs, he cuts jobs, and that's how he makes his investors a lot of money, because he just gets rid of things. And that's why Musk doesn't like Buffett. He says, I'm not a fan of Buffett, because Buffett just looks at balance sheets and tries to figure out a way to cut expenses and cut cut legacy costs like pensions and stuff like that. And that's the way he makes things go up in value. Whereas Elon Musk builds something. He's an innovator. He's going space. He's boring tunnels. He's building an electric car, and he's actually doing something. Well, that's the difference between somebody that's built on Ethereum and somebody that's built on EOS. We built on EOS because we actually wanted to be like Elon Musk. We wanted to produce a product. People that built on Ethereum, they never wanted to build anything. They just wanted to have a good place to market their token and have their token go up in value. So that's been the difference. We wanted to build something. If we would have been smart, we would have just put a token on Ethereum, an ERC20 token, and just pumped it like Richard Hart's done, and never built anything, never spent any money on development, never gone through 7 or 8 versions, never got in the App Store, and never did anything. We would have just pumped our token, like you're going to find out with what Richard Hart has done, and what Charles Hawkinson's done. But anyway, Hawkinson, after 5 years, has finally had to come up with something, because he just can't tell the story forever. I'm going to launch, and then never launch. So he's had to come up with something. So it looks like he's getting ready to come up with something. But my point of view from this is EOS all over again. If he actually starts his chain and runs the chain, you're going to see the price drop like a rock, just like you did with EOS. EOS's best days were prior to the launch of the chain, the anticipation of the chain launching. Once the chain launches, now it's not news anymore, and now whatever happens is going to underwhelm whatever people expect, because after 5 years of expectations and all the bragging and the peer review papers, people are going to expect something grandiose, and they're not going to get it. It's just, I don't even know what he's going to release, but he may try to release something. He may not release anything. It just may be another one of the 5 years of we're going to release something, but we never do. But he's anticipating releasing it. So if you're playing the Cardano game right now, which is, where's Cardano at right now as far as price? It's skyrocketed here the last few weeks. It's the third highest capped blockchain right now going, or highest capped crypto going. It's up 16%, $2.48. If he actually makes a release, expect this price to drop, in my opinion, dramatically. So all these people that are being suckered into this, just like with EOS, thinking that once they launch, people are going to, it's going to be where everybody's going to build an application, and this is going to be running all the applications and all the smart contracts and everything like that. The problem is there's no applications. There's no smart contracts. There's a lack of those kinds of activities going on. mainly because most of them have been built on Ethereum, and Ethereum can't scale it. So Cardano's supposed to scale it, but there's nothing out there to be running, nothing out there that's going to be built. There's not developers like us willing to invest in a new blockchain, especially that hasn't had any activity, and we don't know how well it's going to work. So expect Cardano to take a huge, huge dip. I would not in any way, shape, or form be touching that with a 10-foot pole right now. I'd stay away from it. And if you want to see the classic example of what happens when you release a blockchain, just look at EOS after EOS released. But I want to play just a little bit of this Cardano 5 years to $1 million. Let's see what he has to say. If he plays. And there we go. Let me make sure the preferences are set one more time. That's the App Store. I don't want that. Got to go to the preferences. Get rid of the App Store. Okay, internal microphone. So I think we're going to go output, internal speakers. Now it should play. So let's go back. Let's go back to my browser, and let's listen to see what this gentleman has to say about Cardano.
Delivering on its promises, a scalable, decentralized blockchain that now houses smart contracts too, allowing for a limitless ecosystem to be built on top. I recently read some of your comments asking, is it too late to invest in ADA now?
No, it's not.
It's not on its promise.
Okay, it's not too late to invest in ADA, because right now I believe ADA is going to take a big, huge dip if he does launch something, which I'm still skeptical that he'll launch anything. He's had 5 years. He raised $60 million in an ICO. He's obviously a security, and he's got issues with that. But let's see what he launches, because right now they're threatening to launch something. And of course, everybody's saying, oh, it's going to really go up in value. But like I say, if it follows the pattern of EOS, this thing is going to take a nosedive and just go straight into the ground.
This is a scalable, decentralized blockchain that now houses smart contracts too, allowing for a limitless ecosystem to be built on top.
Okay, a limitless ecosystem to go on top. I'd like to know that dApp's ready to start building on Cardano. We saw that with EOS. There were tons of applications getting ready to be built on EOS, and most of them never materialized or never happened. But let's see what happens, because I doubt that there's people lining up to build on Cardano right now.
I recently read some of your comments asking, is it too late to invest in ADA now, considering the hard work of getting the blockchain up and running is all but done?
Yeah, 5 years and $60 million and probably tons of other private investments that have been thrown at this thing, and he still hasn't launched a blockchain. I mean, we launched an application on our own money. We didn't raise any money from anybody. We're not an investment. We're not a security, because we did it on our own penny, on our own dime, on our own money. These guys had tons of outside resources, and they still haven't launched anything. We were able to launch something and do 7 or 8 versions and get it in the App Store and the Google Play Store, and we didn't have any excess money to do that with. We did it on our own. So we don't have to worry about arguing if we're a security or not, because we didn't raise any money. These guys raised tons of money and have not yet produced anything. It's like I said, as if Elon Musk would say, I'm going to build an electric car, and then never build it. 5 years later, never build the car, even though he's raised tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars through the public market.
Well, if you think that Cardano's growth is over and it won't ever add any value ever again, then maybe yes, but there's still so much to come from ADA and Ethereum and Bitcoin, and way more coins in my opinion. But specifically for ADA, yet to come is the actual rollout and growth of all the dApps, DEX.
Yeah, he keeps talking about all the dApps and DEXs that are going to roll out on Cardano. If they were going to roll out, they could have already rolled out on EOS. Why would they wait for Cardano to roll out? EOS has been up and running for the last 3 years.
And DeFi that blockchain users have come to love. So how might Cardano be valued in the future? How might the ecosystem grow in the future? And how does this feed into a possible investment case right now? If you want, do check out the timestamps for this video in the description. And today's plug is Celsius Wallet.
Okay, then he goes into some of his sponsors. But anyway, I would look for Cardano to crash here very soon. That's my opinion. Of course, like I say, I'm not giving you financial advice. Do whatever you want to do. But in my opinion, Cardano's ready to crash. And if you want a use case to judge that by, just look at EOS and see what happened to EOS once EOS launched. So now that we're done with Cardano, I want to talk about our good friend Richard Hart, because I did invest in HEX. And actually, let's take a look at my HEX investment. I told you I invested in HEX at 18 cents. So right now, my HEX investment is worth 18 cents. So I've been in it for 3 days, I think, and I haven't made any money. In fact, it actually dropped back to like 16 cents a few hours ago. It's gone up to about 18 cents. But in the meantime, our challenge token, which basically has very little volume and trades on very few exchanges, is up 37.6%. So the last few days, challenge has gone very well. And the problem we have with challenge is we just don't have a good exchange. We've got a great application. We've gone about this backwards. Instead of pumping a token on Ethereum and pumping a token through an exchange, getting ourselves listed on exchanges, we built the application first, and then we went out looking for exchanges. Well, the exchanges are all slimy, and they don't care about whether you built anything or if you have a working application. All they care about is if they can pump your token and how much money you can grease them to be on their exchange. And that's basically what these exchanges do. So, and then they manipulate the volume and they manipulate the amount of tokens sold and not sold and make it look like that there's a lot of activity going on that's really not going on. So to get on an exchange is very difficult, especially if you've got something that's working and valuable. And the other thing is they don't care. They really don't care. The exchanges don't care if it's working, and they don't care if it's valuable. All they care is if you've got people like Richard Hart, when you've got a lot of brain dead people, mostly brain dead people, that follow him like he's a cult leader and are willing just to throw money at HEX, even though he has nothing, calls himself a certificate of deposit. How complicated is that? You know, and says he's not a security, and says that his contracts are immutable and that nobody can change his contracts and that they're locked in stone. All this stuff that is pure conjecture. It's only his opinion, you know, but we're going to talk about that in a second. So let's go back to Richard Hart. So this is Antonopoulos, and I'm going to tell you this. He talks about what he is here as a token. What the purpose of HEX is. Here he goes. He's going to talk about what HEX is.
The only use case that has had any adoption whatsoever in cryptocurrency is speculation and store value.
Okay, I agree with him. I agree with the fact that the only use case for any crypto is speculation, which is all the Ethereum projects, and store of value, which is Bitcoin. That's it. There's no application. There's no dApp. There's nothing else running on it. I mean, the whole reason, the whole purpose for this was to build smart contract platforms, smart contract applications, smart contract ideas that were going to eliminate the third party in our world, the banking systems, the insurance companies, the legal system, all the other things that drain us because they're the trusted third parties, and we give them so much power and authority over our everyday lives and our everyday transactions. That was the reason to get rid of him through these smart contract platforms. But right now it's never happened. He just said it, and I'm going to play it again because what he said is absolutely true. Go back here to 224. Listen to Richard Hart again, because I agree 100% with what he just says.
The only use case that has had any adoption whatsoever in cryptocurrency is speculation and store value.
That's right. Speculation and store value. Which one do you think he is part of? Which part of that, those two use cases for crypto, do you think Richard Hart is? He is speculation. Okay? So let's move a little bit further down this video with Antonopoulos, and we'll go to the next one. This is going to talk about HEX, store of value better than Bitcoin, and he's going to talk about these consensus codes, these isolated contracts that he's created that basically are immutable and nobody can change. And he talks about this all the time. Two things he talks about endlessly is that he's not a security, and that he has contracts, smart contracts, that are written in stone and nobody can change. Nobody can change, and they are completely immutable. So here we go. He's going to talk about that here. So listen to what he's got to say here.
Is happy. HEX stores value more securely than Bitcoin with audited software. Bitcoin's
okay. So he talks about it's audited software, but who's auditing the software? Is he auditing the software? I'm not hearing any kind of major auditing firms that he's hired with all the millions that he's made from HEX. An outside auditor, somebody without any kind of that doesn't have an interest in this project. Are they doing the auditing, or is he doing the auditing? He claims he's being audited, but he doesn't give names. He doesn't give some sort of a written analysis. He doesn't give a written opinions by these outside auditors. He just says, hey, I'm audited, but doesn't talk about who it is or talk about, their credentials or anything. He just says, I've got code that's been audited. So let's hear him talk some more.
It's not audited. An economics audit. Bitcoin doesn't have an economics audit. Isolated consensus code so that it can't accidentally get screwed up in a network upgrade.
So he's got some isolated consensus code that can't be screwed up like everybody else's code screwed up. Like Bitcoin's code screwed up. Bitcoin has had problems in the past where they've had to reverse the chain because somebody stole some Bitcoin. So their code is corrupted, but his code isn't, because his code's been audited and it's isolated and it's got consensus or something like that. But this is according to Richard Hart. He has nobody else that's stating an opinion outside of Richard Hart, which Richard Hart has an interest in this, and Richard Hart developed the project. So obviously he's going to say, yeah, his code is immutable and it can't be changed, and it's rock solid, and it's the greatest code in the world, and there's nothing wrong with it. So let's hear him keep talking.
Which has happened to Bitcoin twice, and it's had inflation bugs twice, where anyone could print as many free Bitcoin as they wanted twice, and they had to roll back the chain once. HEX is more secure than Bitcoin.
Okay, HEX is more secure than Bitcoin, according to Richard. Not anybody else. Does he have an opinion from anybody else? Does he have an opinion from a law firm, a securities firm? Does he have an opinion from an auditing firm that audits blockchain? Does he have an opinion from any of these people? No, he doesn't cite any authority outside of his own meager opinion that means absolutely nothing, because obviously he doesn't have any credentials outside of his experience in Bitcoin and developing HEX and whatever he's paid for as far as developers concerned. He doesn't have anything else. He's just got his opinion. But he's telling you that he's the most secure code in the world, and that he's more secure than the project that's worth more in market cap than any other. The one that's being adopted, and one that Gary Gensler, who's the Securities and Exchange Commissioner, taught a course on for 3 years at MIT. He's more secure than that. He's more secure than Bitcoin. He's the most trusted digital asset in the world. He's more secure. But that's according to him. So how can you believe that? He's the founder of it. He's going to say it's secure. Of course he's going to say it's secure. So let's hear him keep talking.
Fixing unit bias, and you can claim it for free for Bitcoin holder. Like, it does so many things well, and it's you're like, it's more liquid on-chain exchange. Now you could now get wrapped Bitcoin probably at the same or higher liquidity levels, but it's still counterparty risk because you have to unwrap it, and then the guy that unwraps it could just be like, no.
Okay, so he talks about wrapping and unwrapping Bitcoin, and he actually is an ERC20 token running on the Ethereum blockchain. So that is done on a contract. So on the Ethereum blockchain, he's running as an ERC20 token, which is a contract running on the Ethereum blockchain. So there is a contract running there. And he talks in another video, I don't know if I've got that clip or not, that the way he's been able to do this is he's been able to take back the chain to certain points, so that he's been able to unwind the chain like prior to Mt. Gox. But he doesn't have to make up the losses with Mt. Gox, because he just eliminates that in the contract. So that particular account where it lost all the money, Mt. Gox, he just eliminates that from this rollback that he's done on the blockchain, which means he is controlling a smart contract, which means he does have control over a smart contract, which means there is a smart contract that he is playing around with, that he's manipulating, that he's controlling. Although he says he's not, because he says it's already done. He did the smart contract, it's over with, it's done. But then at the same time, he's doing these rollbacks and he's fixing up some of the problems that Bitcoin had. Some of the places where some money got stolen or some Bitcoin got stolen, or some of the places where they had some hacking being done. He unrolled it back to then, eliminated those accounts, and now he's moving forward. But in order to do that, he had to alter the contract. But according to him, the contract is now completely solid and he doesn't have to do anymore, even though he does tell you in that little bit of information that he has contract control and that he can do whatever he wants to do with these contracts, which means he can eliminate accounts, which can eliminate your account. He can eliminate my account. You know, he can eliminate anybody's account, but he tells you, no, he doesn't, because it's solid and it's not going to change. But he's already telling you he eliminated accounts when he rolled back to chain to rewrite the chain so that he could, you know, make it so that, he could take it back to where he wanted to take it back to, so he could be able to include all that history of Bitcoin on his chain for his HEX ERC20 token. So here we go. Let's keep going.
I'm going to unwrap it. Sorry. And then you're stuck with your ERC20 wrap. So HEX does so many things better than Bitcoin does. Higher throughput. You want 2,000 transactions per second? Go to zksync.io. You'll have it. You want, custody-free exchange to stablecoin? Go to uniswap.exchange and paste the contract address in. hexdex.win is down due to technical issues. So I should set up another domain and just...
Yeah, so he is playing around with the contract, although he says it's written in stone and it's already done and nobody can do anything about it, and it's completely immutable. Nobody can touch it. Nobody can do anything with it. At the same time, he's controlling it, so he's doing things with it. So obviously, he's just spinning a yarn of bullshit about how he doesn't play around with this contract, although he's got total control of the contract and has done some things. I'm telling you, he's doing things right now with it. So let me move forward to 529. Okay, here he's talking with, I think he's talking with BitBoy. Okay, here we go. Let's talk about Bitcoin Boy, because he gets a little bit upset in this video. Here at 33, he starts talking about what HEX is, and of course they're asking him define HEX, and he's going to define HEX for BitBoy. Here we go.
A lot of people have that you've talked to, and so we want to ask you. We're definitely going to be asking you some tough questions today, and want to get your response.
He doesn't ask him any
doing some digging, and we found
he doesn't ask him any tough questions.
Some things that people have said, and definitely want to get.
God. Oh no.
I know. We're about to bamboozle you. Okay?
The hard questions.
The hard questions.
Oh, no.
We're going to start with what's your social security number?
Basically, what he really does is, anytime you ask him a question that he can't answer, or he doesn't have an answer, he just gets angry and starts swearing. But here we go. I think the guy has a little bit of a mental issue. He's either, he's hard to kind of get, because if you listen to what he says, he kind of tells you what he is, which is all he's about is pumping his token. He has built nothing, done nothing. He's only pumped his token. That's all he cares about. He doesn't care about any kind of project or building any kind of application or having anything in the App Store or having anything that works. He just is only interested in pumping his price. That's all he cares about. That's the only use case for his project, is to pump the price. But then again, he says he's not a security because you do all the work. So he's pumping the price. He built out a project where he, like I say, he rolled back the chain. He got rid of some of the accounts. He's created a platform. He worked. He's the one that did the platform. He created the platform. He's asking you to, you know, he's telling you, you're mining the coins. Since you're mining the coins, there is no work from him. So since there's no work from him, he's not a security. So he argues those words, the semantics. But like I say, he gives no legal opinion on this. He would get himself, have himself a lot easier time of this if he just spent a little bit of money to get somebody like the Cooley law firm or a high-level securities law firm to back him up in what he's saying. But he's not. He just gives his opinion. And of course, he has no authority whatsoever. He's never tried a case. He's not a lawyer. He's not anybody that's ever worked in the Security and Exchange Commission. He's never been a stockbroker or anything like that. He's never brought a company public. He's never done anything, but he seems to be an expert in the Howey rule and the Howey test. So here we go.
Or if you give that to
Nice.
us. So give us just really quickly, or as quickly as you know how to do, the 30,000 foot view, if you will, of HEX for people that may have just heard of it but have no idea.
Okay, the 30,000 view of hexes is the same as Bitcoin. Here we go.
What it is.
Sure. It's Bitcoin, except it pays stakers inflation instead of miners.
So hex is Bitcoin that he hates, he despises, says is a scam, and it pays stakers instead of miners. So if you stake, which means he's got to keep you in the program long enough, because the only way he can get this thing to grow or have some value is if people don't sell their tokens. So if he locks them up and they don't sell their tokens, then he can get appreciations, of which I haven't gotten any yet. You know, like I say, I'm down. I'm in at the same price I got in 3 days ago. So what happens over a period of time, as people see their appreciations because of the staking, so many people stake, he talks them into staking, gets them to stake, and then people liquidate because they have a little bit of appreciation because you got so many people locked up and have drank the Kool-Aid and believe what he says and believes he's not manipulating his contracts or changing his contracts, and he's not a security. They believe what he says. They buy into it. They think they're going to get a little extra return by staking. That's what helps the price go up, and that's what he's been doing.
And it's more secure because the consensus code is locked in a contract that can't be changed.
Okay, and he keeps saying that. He keeps saying that it's a consensus code lock in the contract that can't be changed. Now that's ridiculous. That's an out and out lie that he does not control these contracts and he can't change those contracts. And not only is it an out and out lie, the fact of the matter is if that's the case, what would happen if he did have a problem? What would happen if he has to go back and change something in the contract? Because there is some sort of a flaw or some sort of a place where people are exploiting the contract or being able to hack the contract or do something. You've got to be able to change it. You got to be able to upgrade it, update it, because as things become more, vulnerable because of the amount of activity on it, or things become more vulnerable because of maybe the smart contracts running on his Pulse chain, people writing code, people doing things. You may have to amend or update your smart contract. You're running on the Ethereum blockchain in a wrapped ERC20 token, and the fact that he says it's not changeable is ridiculous. It's out and out silliness. It needs to be changeable just for its own longevity, just so it can continue to grow, and so it can continue to have be able to be fixed. It's like a car. You can't weld the hood shut, because you might have a problem with the motor someday. I mean, as much as you want to keep the hood shut and keep the motor sound and not let anybody mess with it, occasionally you might have to do something. You might have to change the spark plugs. You might have to change some oil. You might have to do something. So you're not going to make it so you can't touch it. And the fact that he has these these keys, that he can control that smart contract, means it is changeable. And he can eliminate tokens. He can burn tokens. He can create tokens. He can do whatever he wants to do. This idea that nothing else happens after it's already finished and nothing can be done is pure bullshit. Pure bullshit.
And the fees are lower, and the throughput's higher, and it's got more audits, and the substrate it runs on, which is Ethereum, has a
And here we go. More audits. Audits by who? Audits by you? Audits by your friends? Audits by your developers that you hire? Who's auditing this code? That, you know, give us some outside. Give us a law firm that states that you're not a security. Give us a law firm or an accounting firm that states that your contracts are completely without error or without any kind of problem, and that cannot ever be changed. Give us some authority beyond yourself. You sound stupid when you say this yourself. You sound arrogant, stupid, and you sound like you won't spend any money on at least proving what it is you're saying. You know, when you go to court, you need expert testimony. You're not expert testimony. You are an interested party in this project. You're not the person that's going to be able to have the court look at and have the court say, yes, this person has years of experience, they're an unbiased third party, and we can believe their testimony. No, we can't believe you, Richard. This is part of your deal. This is part of your game. This is part of what you're doing. This is how you're generating your Rolexes and your McLarens and your Porsches and your Ferraris and all the other stuff by selling this token that you claim you're not selling. And now you're trying to tell us that nothing's changed and that your contracts are immutable and you don't ever rewrite and you don't ever rechange anything or do anything. We're supposed to believe that?
It's a bug bounty program and more developers, and it has decentralized finance. So if you're in Bitcoin and you want to sell your Bitcoin for something else, you have to get screwed and send your coins to a centralized exchange. They get hacked, they lose your coins, and then you can.
There he goes. He loves to hack. He loves to just beat up on Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin's the most successful project that's ever existed, probably in the history of investing. But yeah, he hates it, and he just completely beats up on it. So here we go. I'm going to start in at 3840. I think here he talks about 3520. Let's go back to 3520. Do I have 3520 here? Because that's where he talks about the Howey test. I'm going to back this up a little bit. 3520, because this is where he really gets animated. 3520. Here we go. 3522, 3518. Let's try right here. Listen to this.
Not connected, but to the likes of BitConnect. Your website, it says that it's designed for 10,000x returns. I mean, that would fail the Howey test. I think the last time that we spoke with you had. Okay,
listen to this. He goes, so all Richard talks about is the big returns, how you're going to get so many returns from the certificate of deposit that he has figured out, he's conquered. And now when he talks about all those returns, and this gentleman here, Beards and Bitcoins, brings up that you've talked about the big returns that you're promising. Isn't that a security? And this is what Richard has. He has this. First of all, he's got to do this really weird kind of snarl, laughing, just joke kind of. It's just acts like a little boy, acts like a little kid, acts like a retard. Here we go.
You don't know shit about the Howey test to make that statement.
And then now the profanity comes. You don't know shit about the Howey statement because he's promised 10,000 return, and because this guy just says that's what you say, Richard. Richard says you don't know shit about the Howey test. There we go.
I know more about it than you.
Okay, he knows more about it than you. Okay, keep going, Richard.
I can educate you if you want.
Sure.
Yeah, it's very simple. The Howey test states that a security is when people give money to a pool with the expectation of profit solely from the work of others.
Okay, so he really likes to do this thing that when you buy HEX, that you mine your own coins and that you are doing the work and he does nothing. Not forget about the fact that he built out the platform. That's not work. The fact that you just had Bitcoin, and since you got Bitcoin, you were able to get some hex airdrop to you, and you did the work. So since you did the work, he has nothing to do with it. Since it's all you did all the work. So he's not violating Security and Exchange Commission rules by being a security. But I want to show you, and this is the part of this Howey test that he's claiming he's not violating. So even though Gensler says almost every ICO, everybody that raises money is a security. That's according to Gary Gensler, who's the one that's going to be deciding what securities and not security. But here we go. Is the money investment? Of course it's an investment. Is there an expected profit associated with the investment? Of course. He doesn't tell you you're buying HEX because you're going to lose money. He's telling you buy HEX because you're going to make money. The money investment is a common enterprise. Of course, it's a common enterprise. Profits come from the third party or the promoter's effort. Of course, he set this plan up to make money. That's what he's telling you. He put it together. He, created rolled back the Bitcoin chain or rolled back the addresses to get rid of the Mt. Gox and some of these others. And he created this in order to be profitable. Now, this is the part that he really hangs his hat on. And here we go. The Howey test concerns whether the investment's profit is largely or completely outside the control of the investor. If yes, the investment can be considered as a security. So, what he's saying is that the investment is outside of the control. Okay, let me read this again. The Howey test concerns whether the investment's profits is largely or completely outside the control of the investor. So, if yes, the investment can be considered a security. So if it's outside the control of the investor has very little to do with it. The third party, which would be Richard Hart, is the one that's doing the work to create a profit. And that's exactly what's going on here. He built out a platform and created a smart contract, the ERC20 token on the Ethereum blockchain. And he created a scheme, a money scheme, so that when you invest in it and you stake your tokens, that you are going to get an expected profit. That's outside your control. He did that. It's not your control, it's his control. He did that. But if the investor has a critical influence on how the investment is managed, then it's not a security. So when he controls the smart contracts and he controls the investment vehicle, the person that's making the investment has no control whatsoever. It's in the control in the hands of Richard Hart, because he tells you that. He says, I control this. I built this. I did everything. All you're doing now is basically if you have a Bitcoin address, I'm airdropping you some HEX tokens. But since you're doing that, you're doing all the work. But you didn't set any of this up. He set it all up. So the idea that you didn't do any work is absolutely craziness. And it makes no sense. And if he had a law firm, like I say, a legitimate law firm, a law firm that had Security and Exchange Commission rules, experience dealing with security, and he had their opinion written on this, it would have some validity. But he doesn't have that. He just has his own arrogant opinion. So let's keep going.
I'm the only guy smart enough to notice that and advertise it like the smart fucker that I am.
See, and instead of explaining the problem, he just says, no, they're like the smart fucker I am. I'm a smart guy and I figured this out. And I'm smarter than everybody else and I understand it. I don't need attorneys. I don't need to have anybody look at it. I don't need to have anybody preview it. I'm just a smart fucker and I got it all figured out.
Everyone else cries and whines like a little bitch. Oh my God, he's saying 10,000x. It's impossible.
So now he's got to get all dramatic and he's got to do this, he's got to put a performance on and act like, wow, everybody claims that since he said 10,000x that BitBoy thinks this is funny. This guy, I don't know about him. Everybody thinks he's funny. Though this guy is having some sort of mental issue right here. And thinks that this is cute. You know, there's a lot of people who invest money in this and they're believing this guy. But this is just, you know, a big scam, a big joke, and a big scheme. And it's clear as day. In fact, I think his biggest problem isn't the fact that he's a security. I think his biggest problem is that he's just basically a money scheme. That's my opinion, that he's just basically a money scheme. Forget about the fact he's a security. He's a money scheme. He's exactly just trying to figure out a way to take people's money, which is out and out theft. Forget about securities laws, or forget about the fact if he's a security or not. This guy's just an out and out thief, in my opinion.
How can he do that? Listen, you stupid fucks. Everything else is up higher. Bitcoin did 2 million X.
And see, that's all he cares about. That's all he cares about, is everything is up higher. He cares nothing about development or building. He lives in the 2017s, where all you do is you just throw out a ERC20 token and tell a good story, and you make 10,000x. And that's all he's thinking about. That's the 2017 market, Richard, not the 2021 market. People are expecting you to do something. People are expecting you to build something, not just sit there and play the money scheme, where as many people as I can get locked up, the more people I can get locked up, you know, the more returns I can give to the people that are in the project. So the earlier you get in and the more people that get in after you, the chances you have of making money. Now, when you pull your money out, those people are going to be left holding the bag, and they're going to be left losing the money. And you're going to have a lot of people lose money because you've expanded this project to the point where there's no way it can continue to maintain it. You can't bring enough investment money back in to remove the people that are coming, that are leaving when they've got a huge profit. It's a typical scheme.
Ethereum did fucking more X in a shorter time frame. It did 10,000X in 2.5 years from 15.
But Ethereum actually had a working product. They had an ERC20 token of which was launching ideas. Even those ideas never got built, they actually had something of value that was doing something. You don't have anything of value. All you do is you have a certificate of deposit. Give me money, I'll give you a return. There's nothing there. There's no, you know, nothing being built, nothing being done. And then now he starts the pulse chain, which is, like I say, rewinding the blockchain, rewinding the Bitcoin blockchain, getting rid of the bad, the bad accounts, and then moving forward with that, and then telling you that he's got a blockchain that he's forked from the Ethereum, and now he's proof of stake with Ethereum. Although he's the validator, he has no mechanism for anybody to build blocks or do anything but him. How he gets that done, I don't know. But, you know, the guy just keeps going on and on and on. Like I say, it makes no sense. He has nobody backing him up. He has no opinions outside of himself. He has no legal opinions. He's purchased, put nothing in hiring, some experts to back up or verify what he's saying. He just says it.
15 cents on Kraken to $1,500 fucking dollars. I'm telling
I
you what other cryptocurrencies have already done, and just saying HEX is designed to do better than that.
I haven't done
yell
HEX
fucking
since
Ponzi.
I was in my 20s, just so everybody knows. Early 20s. That's when.
Okay, so BitBoy makes some sort of stupid remark about doing some sort of, what did he say? Some sort of HEX or something in his 20s. Must be called a drug too. I don't know what it is.
Last time I did HEX.
So my point is, I'm smarter than these fucking
Okay, so he doesn't need legal counsel because he's smarter than these fucking idiots.
idiots that flap their lips. I know more about Howie than they do.
And he knows more about Howie than they do. So now he's a securities attorney. Not only is he a securities attorney, he's a Supreme Court justice, because he knows how this will be ruled on.
I know more about speculation than they do. I know more about.
He knows more about speculation than anybody. He's the smartest guy in the world. Here we go again with this inflated, godlike opinion of himself.
The charts than they do. I've designed a better cryptocurrency.
He's designed a better cryptocurrency. He's the smartest man in the world.
Built it while they fucking talk about it.
And he's built it while they've talked about it. What has he built? He's built nothing. Built nothing. He's built nothing.
That's the difference. These are a bunch of dumbasses that have never been successful in their entire.
And you see the reason he's overreacting like this, because he knows he's wrong. You know, the only way he can, what they say is, the old saying is, you know, if you're in the wrong, I mean, if you're in the right, you pound the law. If you're in the wrong, then pound the table. Well, he's in the wrong, so he's pounding the table. He's not pounding the law, he's pounding the table because he has no law to pound.
Our fucking lives that don't know anything about the blockchain or software or speculating or building a fucking business, and then they come attack me because I'm improving the world.
Okay, he's improving the world. So now he's the great philanthropist that's making the world better.
Every fucking day, new users are on board into HEX. 0 downtime. Awesome. Everything's running fucking great. The only people that have bad things to say about HEX, people who never fucking used it.
Okay, so the only bad people that say, I'm buying it, Richard, and I haven't made any money on it. Not that I've owned it a long time, but I haven't made any money on it. So yeah, this guy is just, like I say, he's either mentally ill, or maybe he's the honest guy. Maybe he's actually telling you what he does, and he's just so brazen and bold about it, but he's actually telling you the truth, which is, hey, nobody's built anything, nobody's done anything, and all blockchain is right now, it's either store of value or pump my coin, pump my deal. And I think he's right. That's basically all it is. Pump my deal or store of value. So you got Bitcoin and everybody else just pumping prices. And I think he's right. So maybe he is the honest guy in blockchain. But, you know, the arrogance and the complete disregard for any kind of reasonable discussion, or, you know, in any kind of discussion about, you know, the real merits of his project, you know, he's unable to converse in. So here we go. I think there's one more that I want to talk about. Actually has a discussion with a guy by the name of Eric Wall. Let's listen to Eric. Here we go.
Get $50 of Bitcoin with your first deposit.
So let me see, Cardano. I know that's not the one I want to go to. I want to go to this one right here. Okay, here, let's check this guy out. So he's having a discussion with this Eric Wall, and I think he talks about here the demand for HEX, why there's a demand for HEX. Play.
For this stuff.
Have you seen the CoinMarketCap top 100?
Yes.
Nothing has adoption, and yet everything is worth billions.
So there he goes, the top 100, and I've been talking about this for a long time. The top 100 market cap coins in CoinMarketCap, nothing is doing anything, but it has billions with market cap. So here we go again.
Lending it to everyone that's not staked because it holds the price of the not staked coins up. So in theory, everyone that isn't staked has an increased value. So in Bitcoin,
Well, that assumes that there's demand for the HEX.
it does assume there's demand. Yes.
And why would there be demand for this?
Okay, it says, why would there be demand for HEX?
Have you seen the CoinMarketCap top 100?
Yes.
Nothing has adoption, and yet everything is worth billions. So it turns out that in crypto, you do not need to have utility.
Okay, so it turns out in crypto, you do not have to have utility. All you need to do is pump your token.
You do not need to have demand. You need to have a good story and good marketing. And if you have trust in this, that's fabulous.
So you need a good story and good marketing. So like Charles Hawkinson with Cardano, it just has a good story and marketing and built nothing. He has nothing. And that's why I expect his coin to go down when he starts actually releasing what he's done with his peer review papers and his college professors that have written, you know, nothing but some pontifications on who knows what. So when you people actually realize there's nothing there, I believe Cardano's going to have a slide to the bottom. Here we go again. If I can get it to play.
And your story is that a
First
portion
blockchain
of,
city.
a portion of the people who can have HEX will access their HEX, and they're gonna
Buy
stake
more.
them, and then they're gonna increase their HEX supply.
And they're going to buy more.
They're gonna buy more, and they're just trying to increase their number of
Yep.
hexes.
Yep.
And then you're using Ethereum,
Yep.
which if you saw my experiment, it takes
I saw
25
it.
days to sync the fucking node.
No one cares. It doesn't matter if you have a full node.
But sorry, Rich, this is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Most of the attack vectors, which are real,
So that's funny. This guy says, this Eric Wall said, this is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. I like it.
are unexecuted. Everyone in this hotel could have locks that don't work, and you wouldn't know because you're not actually testing them.
Wait, let me ask you something else. So how are you, like, why are you specifically, like, of all the things that you could be doing, how are you making money out of this?
If you want to become a billionaire, you have got a very limited number of ways to do it. You have to attack a very large market, and you have to be able to onboard new users with zero marginal cost per new user. And it turns out that printing free money out of thin air is very high margin, infinite margin. And the number of people that are interested in turning their money into more money is also.
So he thinks he's at the Federal Reserve, where he's printing money out of thin air. That's how he's becoming a billionaire. That he just continues to expand the supply and expand the supply and expand the supply and create trillions and trillions. And like I say, he controls the contracts, so he can make more and more trillions every day. And that's what he does. And that's his game.
Nearly everyone, right? And so you've got a product which appeals to everyone, that has huge market share, and for some reason is totally unaddressed. We've got cryptocurrencies that are supposed to be green. We've got cryptocurrencies that are supposed to be private. But we don't have a cryptocurrency to replace the $7.2 trillion in time deposits just in the United States and China alone. That's larger than printed money. It's a larger market.
But you're not replacing a time deposit is when you loan your money out to a bank and you earn interest on that.
Not from the customer's perspective. From the customer's perspective, he locks up his money and gets interest. He doesn't
Yeah,
give a
but
fuck what happens
why does
now.
he get interest though? It's because the bank is using his money to.
That's not actually true. It seems.
See, whenever somebody confronts him with something, he always comes back with some sort of word play or word game of what they said isn't true, and then he restates it in the way he'd like to have it sound, and doesn't really give any explanation or have any kind of way of giving some credibility to what it is he says.
Seems like it should be true, but in reality, when you give your money to the bank, it is not an asset to them. It goes on their liabilities side of the spreadsheet. When you give your money to the bank, they only use that as an excuse to have a higher reserve that then they use to actually get the money they lend out from the government.
Yeah, and
which
then
is fucking free.
they still.
So your money doesn't actually get lent out. Your money just acts as an
it
excuse.
becomes the collateral portion
Right.
that they can use to increase
Exactly.
their.
And that's important because the
But they
real
don't
money is the money they're getting from the government. Your money doesn't actually get rented out. Your money just fucking sits there.
No, but
it's a liability.
but when you deposit money with the bank, you increase their collateral base, which
Yes.
allows them to expand their balance
Right?
sheet.
Which allows. Yes.
So you are when you are making a time deposit, you are providing the bank with more leverage, so to speak, in
Yep.
the financial system.
Yes.
And that's what you're getting paid for.
And in HEX, you're doing the same thing. You're increasing the value of the unlocked coins by making it so that. So let's put it this
I'm
way.
going to think about this.
So
and I'm
his
gonna,
appeal is that
Okay, so the guy, I'm gonna quit the video by now because I've talked long enough. But his basically idea is that he just continues to expand the supply of HEX. Like I say, after a certain period of time, if you do have a profit and you haven't locked it up for 7 years or 5 years, or however long it is, you probably will sell because it's not going to go up anymore. And a lot of people are going to end up being locked up into this thing, not being able to get out, and you're going to lose your money. That's my opinion. You're going to lose your money, and you're going to go down with the ship. So anyway, that's what it is. Mr. HEX, Mr. Richard HEX. It's a long video, but I think it showed some of in his own words, how his HEX program works. And one of the things we've realized with our project is that we have not focused on our token enough, and we're going to change that. We're going to start focusing more on our token. Because as Mr. HEX has shown you, the only utility for blockchain right now is store of value and token appreciation. So we will start increasing our token value by pushing our token, because we have a finished product. You can use it right now. I will make a challenge for this video. So if you go to our challenge application, Challenge EOS, in the App Store or the Google Play Store, you will earn 1,000 CHL tokens for making a comment on this video. We have a finished product. It's done. We didn't raise any money. The tokens will be used for making challenges, but we are going to start offering tokens to purchase from our application and get around, you know, these horrible ways of trading tokens on EOS. I mean, the one problem with EOS is, if you want to talk about EOS having problems, there's two things EOS has done. The first thing EOS did was that they launched the chain, but basically, in my opinion, EOS was nothing more than a way to raise money to buy more Bitcoin, which is what they did. EOS raised money to buy Bitcoin. So the founders of EOS used the $4 billion basically to buy a lot of Bitcoin, which was a smart move because Bitcoin tremendously appreciated after they did their ICO. They have not reinvested into the blockchain. Maybe they'll do it with bullish.com. We don't know. But in the meantime, they made it very difficult to, with the Anchor wallet and Gray Mass and some of these other wallets that we use, they're very difficult to use because with MetaMask, you know, the gas fees are already figured in. Just if you put up your fiat currency, your debit card or your credit card, the gas fees are automatically taken out. With the Anchor wallet or with Scatter, you actually have to stake in order to run a transaction, which gets to be a little bit complicated. So we're going to bypass all that stuff, you know, and go directly to the app. So if you want to purchase the token, you go directly to the app. And the reason you can go directly to the app and purchase the token is because the token can be used to make a challenge. So it's actually something that you can use to create a challenge, which to me, like I say, I can quadruple the amount of comments I get on these videos by just running a simple challenge. Well, the only way people can do that is if they can buy the token and get the token. It's very difficult to buy and sell a token, which is not an easy process for most people unless you're very experienced in blockchain. It's difficult to do. So we're going to change all this. Just like you can go to our application and you can set up an EOS account very simply because we pay for all your resources. We pay for your CPU and your RAM because we are encouraging you to download and use our application. So, you know, for literally nothing, you get to set up a token and then you get crypto in the meantime. We give it to you for free. But I think in the future we're going to make it so you can actually buy crypto from our application, which is going to make it even more simple for you and make it more easy, so you don't have to go through, you know, the browser extensions in order to link a wallet up to some of these you know, you have to have browsers extensions to link your wallet up to an exchange, which is very difficult and sometimes takes a long time and very hard to figure out. So anyway, I think I've been going on now for over an hour and 4 minutes. So hopefully I get some comments on this. I'm not going to look at the comments tonight because it is now 1 a.m. in the morning and I'm getting tired and ready to go to sleep. So, but anyway, I think I covered HEX. I think I've covered a little bit of Cardano. And I think I've covered a little bit about, you know, people running on Ethereum and how Ethereum was really never meant to be a platform to run applications. It was just meant to be a platform to launch projects and pump projects. And that's basically what they did. I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much.